Hello, and welcome to EGA's 2021 annual meeting. This is actually the first of two iterations of our annual meeting. We are recording this video immediately after the conclusion of the Board of Directors meeting, and we're posting this on EGA's website so you can watch it at any time convenient for you. We will hold the second iteration of the annual meeting on Thursday, the 2nd of September, live at the National Seminar in Chicago, Illinois. That session will have an abbreviated agenda. We're holding it during the lunch break, and the attendees will be anxious to get back to their classes and all the fun stuff at seminar. During that in-person meeting, we will film the installation of EGA's new officers, and we will post that film on EGA's website also. In addition, this second video will include clips from the opening banquet, specifically when we recognize those who have completed milestones and received awards, clips from the closing banquet, specifically when we announce the big winners from the Golden Needle exhibition, and several short clips taken at some of the seminar's activities. So I encourage you to watch that video when it becomes available after seminar closes on the 5th of September. I will start by introducing the faces here so you can put names to go with faces. The EGA's Executive Committee is comprised of 7 officers and directors. Marge Kelly, Vice President. Kathy Melville, Secretary. Jennifer Mullins, Treasurer. Celeste Chalasani, Director of Education. Beth Lindsay, Director of Membership and Marketing. Director of Bylaws, Kathy Weigl. Our region directors are Carol Overton from the Carolinas region, Wendy Lynn from the Great Lakes region, Jacqueline Jenkins, Greater Pacific region, Joyce Furry-Sievers, Heartlands region, Maria Hall, Metropolitan region. Mid-Atlantic region is Donna Pence. Mid-Eastern region, Jean Hubsch. New England region, Susan Palumbo. Pacific Southwestern region, Marilyn Evans. Rocky Mountain region, Trudy Pohopachico. South Central region, Valerie Russell. Sun region, Debbie Talley. And Tennessee Valley region, Vera Grimsley. At the hub of EGA is our headquarters staff, Cynthia Welch, who heads the office, Rand Duran, who manages our social media and all things IT related, and Tanya Parks, who handles membership and finances. Tanya is not here. She is holding down the fort in Louisville. We also have with us Gwen Nelson, Director of the National Seminar Committee. And per EGA protocol, we have a registered parliamentarian with us to keep us on the straight and narrow. Today, we have Deborah Underwood. During this meeting, each national officer or director will brief you on the activities within their region. Several months ago, we asked all of you to send us your questions and issues you wanted addressed today. We thank you for responding, and after we have covered each of the sections from the officers and directors, we will cover those questions as well. We also mailed you ballots in June, and we will announce the results of your voting at the end of the meeting. The COVID pandemic disrupted our lives, and my heart goes out to all who have lost loved ones during this period. It disrupted EGA's way of doing business, and like many organizations, EGA had to adapt and learn new ways of doing business. Many people reacted to the enforced shutdown by picking up their embroidery. EGA went into high gear to provide more and more classes, video lectures, shopping opportunities, and other events. We assisted chapters and regions in learning and using virtual technology so you could see your friends and share stitching and social time together. The board actually works together much more efficiently today because we can and do meet frequently to address routine business and respond to unexpected problems or opportunities. Chapters report that some of their meetings can now attend meetings and events when attendance was not possible before because of mobility issues and travel expenses are no longer a factor. Great Lakes, Mideastern, and Heartlands region held their region seminars virtually with great success. They received such positive feedback that we're now looking at how to incorporate the virtual world into the in-person world. The board is discussing how and when to have a virtual national seminar, because that will allow many who are not able to attend in person to experience much of the joy of being here. Midway through my term, we committed to making EGA a more diverse and inclusive organization in every aspect of that term. If an organization believes something to be important, that organization measures it and tracks it to evaluate progress or non-progress. It is not good enough to say, we think we are more diverse than we were. Although diversity has always been on the fringes of our meetings for years, it was time to put our money where our mouth is and find out what EGA looks like today so we can track progress. Hence, the survey many of you participated in this summer. And like many organizations worldwide, EGA membership has been decreasing steadily for years. In the past 2 years, we increased our marketing efforts again, taking advantage of the many opportunities of the virtual world of social media. I had hoped the increased investment in marketing would show a corresponding increase in membership. But once again, COVID threw a monkey into that wrench. We will continue to focus on this vital issue. So our biggest triumph today is the fact that we are here in person. And I am so looking forward to the next few days of seeing friends, taking classes, enjoying the exhibit pieces, and drooling over the class offerings for the 2022 National Seminar in New York City. I want to thank the Great Lakes region and the National Seminar Committee for making this week happen. I now turn the floor over to Marge Kelly, our Vice President.
Thanks, Janet. I too want to thank the Chicago team and the National Seminar team for making it such a great experience here in Chicago. The National Vice President has 3 areas of responsibility: the regions, the national seminars, and the national exhibit. Relative to the regions, it's been, I just can't thank the region directors enough and all of you, because everybody continued to pivot this year. We continued to use Zoom. Over 180 chapters and regions are using Zoom or Zoom-like technology, and over 6,000 of our members have been reached at least once during 2021. We've held stitch-ins, we've held international lectures, and we've also provided, which you may have been part of, funding for region lectures and classes. Additionally, in 2021, Gwen Nelson heads up the National Seminar Committee, and we are here in Chicago. 2022 will be in New York City, and 2023 will be in Boston. And as Janet said, we are looking at how to combine our virtual skills and in-person skills to provide the best type of seminars for all of our members. We have another effort going on right now, and that's called Through the Needle's Eye, and it's our national exhibit, and that's headed up by Georgianne Lane. Typically, we had an exhibit that used to travel around and would go to the regions, and we decided that last year that we would look at a different way of doing this. And the way of doing it will be that this will be a virtual exhibit that will be kicked off at the Boston seminar, but we will also have an in-person exhibit for 3 months at our headquarters in Louisville. So we're very much excited about this one because, you know, we think of a virtual exhibit and we're going to be able to have you look at the pieces somehow, either 360 or move them around. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And again, this is for our members to submit pieces that are either original or original adaptations. So that, look for more on that. And you can see some of the information about this on the website. And as Janet said, we started our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. And I'll talk a little bit about that a little later. And our role also is to support the marketing effort. What are we doing next year? We're going to do so much more with the TNE, with our seminars and our diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. The other thing we're going to look at is what are we going to do with all the technology, and is there a way that we can better serve our members through a more robust technology infrastructure. But I do want to say that I will talk about the survey, but I am so impressed with the thoughtfulness and the willingness to provide your comments to us in the survey. And it is so important for us because it'll enable us to develop our strategy for going forward. And now I'm going to turn this over to Beth Lindsay, the Director of Marketing and Membership.
Hello, everybody. During the past year, as everyone has already discussed, we've been dealing with all of the COVID issues. And in the meantime, during that COVID period, as you know, craft became a very, very important thing in people's lives. This is something that really became quite a resurgence while people were in shutdown. So we continued our advertising efforts during that time. And I think that it did continue to increase our visibility across the board. I work closely with Rand Duran, who I want to thank for all of his support during my last 3 years in this position. He has done an absolutely amazing job. Aside from our social media and internet advertising, blogs, websites, online newsletters, podcast sponsorships that we do, Rand has updated our website in many ways. Just to kind of scan through all of this list, some of our updates include pages for the National Gold Thread winners. There's now a page showing what's available at headquarters. Also another one for the America the Beautiful National Tapestry. We now have functionality, including a library search that allows you to search by author and by phrase. We have an About Us page now showcasing our EGA history, support EGA, EGA headquarters, and as I said, National Tapestry. We have made some tweaks to our renewal process where we now send a thank you for stitching with us email automatically when a renewal is processed, which will send you your member number, renewal date, links to access members, benefits, and directions to get your username and password so that you can log into the members only area of the website. We also now send out class registration reminders, which I took part of this past year. It really comes in handy when you see a class coming up that you want to take and it's not quite time for registration. It's really nice to get that reminder. Our EGA newsletter is remaining around a subscription rate of 7,330. And we also still have the Needlework Network newsletter, which goes out to 5,934 non-members, which is a 3,600 person increase from last year, which I find pretty amazing. We use this to reach out to non-members. We continue to share interesting news about what we're doing and kind of automatically to keep reaching out to people and, you know, reminding them of all the great work that we do so that we can hopefully bring more people in as members that way. Next page, please. Our social media following continues to increase. Our Facebook followers are up since the end of the year by almost 3,500 people to a total of 29,000. Our Instagram followers have reached a total of 4,360 people, and Pinterest followers are now at 3,100. Paid social media posts, which is something that is done through our advertising agency, Field Trip. We utilize younger demographics trying to reach out to younger members, and we have made over 500,000 impressions in that process. Next page. Membership this year, in a comparison of August against August numbers, we have decreased by 1.7% to 7,747. Considering that we had a very real concern that we would have large membership loss due to COVID, this small decrease is, while obviously we would like it to have increased, it could have been much, much worse. I attribute this small decrease to Marge Kelly and Celeste and all the region directors who worked so hard to increase our virtual classes and to keep people engaged and involved during the COVID shutdown and not being able to meet in person. New member kits began shipping this spring. We've shipped 168 so far. The project bags and stickers that are available in those new member kits are available for purchase. And the shop affiliate program is now up and running, and we have 23 shops participating and covering 19 states. I'd like to now pass this on to our Director of Education, Celeste Chalasani.
Thanks, Beth. So our education department has been busy this year, so I have quite a few updates that I'd like to give you. Next slide. Thank you. We've had 5 people complete their Master Craftsman Program certification this year. So I'd like to congratulate Gina Maria Klein-Martin, who finished her Master Craftsman in color. Our own president, Janet Noble, who completed a Master Craftsman in counted thread. Cindy Lemkow, who finished a Master Craftsman in crewel. Erica Borg, who finished the Master Craftsman in canvas. And Joanne Henderson, who finished the Master Craftsman in canvas. We also had Raven Alexander Fagelson complete her EGA teacher certification in surface embroidery and crewel. So congratulations, Raven. We have 2 extended study programs that are currently open for registration. Contemporary Geometric Beadwork Demythicized is this November in Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg, and registration is still open for that ESP. And we also have Tudor Dreams with Deborah Merrick Wilson, which will happen in March of next year. And registration for that is closing soon. So if you're interested, you want to sign up soon. We have 3 new publications. Now, if you're not familiar with what our publications are, they're projects like petite projects. There are technique basics series, there are guidelines, and the glossary. And these are all things that are free to members that you can find in the download section or in the members only section of the website. So Carol Renard and her team published 2 new petite projects, Dorset Buttons by Hope Wright and Floral Needle Mending by Lorna Bateman. And they also published an Introduction to Brazilian Dimensional Embroidery by Judy Caruso. Now, we continue to see really strong enrollment in our group correspondence courses, even with COVID. We have 2 new GCCs that were released this year, Bargello and Design by Gail Stafford and Reticello Needlebook by Jonaline Goodtwine. And we have some courses coming up that I think you'll be interested in. We have 3 new traditional GCCs that should be released very soon. Hearts for You by Denise Pratt, Symphony by Barbara Kershaw, and Guanine by Margaret Kinsey. And we also have 3 new Encore GCCs that are going to be coming soon. Daydreams by Barbara Kershaw, Fall Colors by Margaret Kinsey, and Love and Laughter by Denise Pratt. Now, these 3 GCCs and these 3 Encore courses, I think they'll be released by the end of the year. So you have those to look forward to. We have 10 individual correspondence courses. ICCs are courses where a student works one-on-one with the teacher, and we currently have 10 of those. We also have 3 in development. They're still in the edit stage and need to be piloted. So I would expect that it's going to be late 2022 before they're available to you. And Janice Myers has done a fantastic job scheduling online studio classes. She's got quite a few that are up and coming, and registration is going to open soon. So we have Hungarian written embroidery by Sarah Pedlow, which is going to run December 1st to December 15th. Maple Leaves by Susan Hoekstra, which is going to run January 5th through March 9th. Creating a Pattern for Embroidery from Digital Images by Julie Carmen, and that's going to run from February 2nd through March 30th. We have Art of Petite Point on Silk Gauze by Natalia Frank, and that one's going to run February 2nd through February 16th. Rosette by Arlene Cohen, that's going to run March 2nd through March 16th. And Lizzie Pye has her Cunning Fox, and that's going to run April 6th through June 15th. Now, keeping track of these days is really difficult, but what you can do is when those classes go up on the website, you can put a reminder in, and then when they're ready to register, you can get a reminder that says register now. So one of the things that we've also done is we created the virtual lecture series this year. So Karen Netto and her 2 moderators, which are Janet Bass and Donna Pence, they have developed this virtual lecture series essentially from scratch. They've had to do policies, procedures, and different protocols. And so far, we've run 10 lectures, and they have 1 more scheduled this year right now. And one is in September, and it's Haptic Memories with Dr. Shabrian Plummer. And last but not least, I want to thank all my volunteers in my education department who have stuck with me the last 3 years. They've worked really hard to develop programs and courses for all our members. So if you know them, if you meet them, say thank you, because everything that we've been able to do for you, our members, is because of their hard work. And up next is our treasurer, Jennifer Mullins.
Thank you, Celeste. In 2021, our investment policy was revised and the new policy is being implemented. An investment manager is chosen, and as our current CDs mature, the proceeds are being invested for the approved asset allocation of 40% equity and 60% fixed income. Our 2020 accounts were reviewed by an independent accounting firm, and independent accounting reviews of 6 of the 13 regions have been performed to date, with 5 reviews planned or in progress. For 2022, the budget has been approved by the board of directors, and our 2021 accounts will be audited by an independent accounting firm. And now over to Kathy Weigl, Director of Bylaws.
Bylaws, the Bylaws Committee reviews the bylaws of the chapters and regions. We also maintain the national bylaws, policies and procedures, and the Who's Who directory. The bylaws reviews are done primarily to make sure we keep our nonprofit status. In addition to reviewing the bylaws, we have developed new sample bylaws for chapters and regions, as well as templates to make those updates easier to do. Also, in the education department, we updated a number of programs, most notably teacher certification. we have right now, tomorrow or on Thursday will be announced the results of the bylaw amendments that were proposed this year. There were 7 of them. A couple of them had to do with the same thing, which was changing the number of regions from 13 to just say regions, because our region structure may change. We also eliminated the requirement to use the old logo, which technically the new logo wasn't a legal logo according to the bylaws. We also changed the staggering of our national officers to reflect what we really do. It somehow got in there backwards when it was updated last time, and allows our meetings to be held electronically. If your bylaws of your chapter don't say you can have electronic meetings, and your bylaws are not due for review anytime soon, there is a handy dandy little procedure in there for doing an amendment. Do that amendment, send it to us, we'll approve it, and then you won't have any problem. Because if you don't say that the meeting can be electronic, then Robert's Rules defines those meetings to be in person. If you have any questions or any updates to suggest to me, please email at bylaws@egausa.org. And now to Kathy Melville.
I want to thank all the chapters who responded by voting to elect the new board and pass the changes to our bylaws. 145 chapters responded. That ends my report. I want to turn it back to Marge, who will discuss diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Thank you, Kathy. You heard a little bit about this from Janet and me in the beginning, but what I wanted to do was just give you a little taste for what's going on, a little more. We are looking at this to re-engage our base, to find out who they are, what we need to do to help them, and also to gain new members. So we sent out a survey to find out who we are, what we do, what we like. I think the most impressive thing is that we got over 3,300 responses out of our 7,800 members. That's a 42+% rate in response. That's extraordinary. 13 regions have responses, and we have 98% of the chapters responding. So again, these are very, very valid results. Based on that, we will work with the regions and the board to evaluate what we can possibly do to increase our membership and engage our current membership a little bit more. Plans will be made in a couple of weeks. We have a team, a DEI team, and region representatives that will get training on inclusion. And we're going to communicate with all of you on our results and our plans using the website. So you will get to see some of the results in a very short time frame. And now I'm going to hand this off to Cynthia Welsh from headquarters.
Thank you, Marge. I wanted to let you all know that Tanya, Rand, and I all returned together to working in the office in May of this year after 14 months of working in a hybrid manner. So we're all back, and we are once again welcoming visitors. We would love to have you come see us in Louisville, either email or call us and let us know you're coming. But if you can't make it to the office, as Beth said, there is a page on the website that gives you a headquarters overview if you'd like to look at that. And now back to Janet for questions and answers.
As I said earlier, we solicited your questions last June and you sent us several. Beth Lindsay, Director of Marketing and Membership, will address the first question.
The first question is from Shan Sathoff. She's the president of the Inland Empire chapter. Her question is, many of us have been seeing the new logo for EGA and are finding our old one, the thimble and needle inside the EGA, as elegant and historical. We do not want this symbol removed from our choices to be used. Please do not take this from us, from those of us that have been loyal members for so many years. So as you know, Shan, in 2018, we did go through a rebranding and we changed our logo. The decision was made at that time to place the old logo into a legacy status only for use by National EGA. But please know, if your current chapter or region logo has not been updated and it still incorporates the older legacy logo, you do not have to change it. You can leave it as is. The only thing that is required going forward is if you create a new logo, either for your chapter or region or for a seminar, then you will need to incorporate the existing newer logo. The next question will be answered by Marge Kelly.
Thanks, Beth. Our next question is from Heather Gitlin from Bucks County, PA. And the question is, what are EGA's plans to draw in younger members, i.e. 20s and 30s, and how can it support chapters in this effort? And this is my favorite statement: a younger membership is necessary for both chapters and the national organization to survive. Heather, we agree with you, and we're going to be looking at, again, in more detail, the results of our survey to determine what we can do, what we can provide at the national level, and what the regions can do. We're going to work with each region because each region will have a different need for their chapters. So stay tuned, more to come. And I also have the next question, Beth, and that's from Nancy Potter from Fox Valley. And there are two questions here. Why are voting issues not sent to chapter presidents in electronic format? Having this information in a digital format would make it easier to share with chapter members via newsletters or email notifications and save money on postage. And I'm going to add the second question to this. Why are forms like chapter officers reporting forms not digital and fillable? Again, two great questions. As I said before, we have a task force looking into all the technologies. This technology updates, these two things may be doable quicker rather than later. So we are looking into all of this. And now I am turning this back to Kathy Melville.
Now I'm going to report on the results of the ballots. Motion number 1 refers to our logo, and that was passed. Motion number 2 was to delete 13 for the definition of EGA regions. That also passed. Motion 3, add following the election of the president to clarify when board terms begin. That was passed. Motion 4, clarify that candidates are selected on a staggered term basis and the committee proposes candidates in 2 of every 3 years. That also passed. Motion 5, correct the sequence of elections for the executive committee members. That passed. Motion 6, allow the annual meeting to be held electronically. That passed. Motion 7, delete the numerical reference to the number of regions. That passed. Our final ballot issue is the 2021-2024 slate of officers nominating President Karen Hamilton, Treasurer Pam Collar, Director of Education Val Reese, Director of Marketing and Membership Wendy Lynn. That also passed. Now I will return to Janet.
It gives me immense pleasure to introduce your incoming officers. As Kathy announced, Karen Hamilton is coming in as president. Pam Collar coming in as treasurer. Valerie Reese as Director of Education, and Wendy Lynn as Director of Membership and Marketing. During the in-person iteration of the annual meeting on Thursday, the 2nd of September, I will install these 4 national officers and directors. That installation ceremony will be filmed, and that video will be available on the EGA website starting the week following the close of seminar on the 5th of September. Remember, that video will also feature snippets of seminar moments, plus announce the big winners of the Golden Needles exhibition, so you don't want to miss watching that video. This includes the first iteration of the 21st annual meeting. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.